Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
You mean to wish me a good morning, or do you mean that it is a good morning whether I want it or not?
Please go away. Let me speak for the love of God.
I'm going to come into this one with a sound effect. Firstly, I've got a can of Coke there for both of you. This is experiment time. I've got some. I got some
Rocks.
popping candy, Pop Rocks.
You took my first line.
Oh no! What was your first line?
I got my Pop Rocks and soda and I'm ready to go.
Now you've said it. See, we're in sync. We're in sync this week.
And I was driving here and I'm like, oh, I bet you fucking says it. And then I was like, oh, now I've got nothing to say.
Well, look, no.
Give it a
If
go.
either of you want to actually have a go, we can put the theory to test. You don't have to, but
If I was still drinking the cola, I would be doing it.
Ah, yes.
maybe we can reserve it for a video for
Yeah.
midweek or something. But there
I
we
mean,
go.
I could have the Pop Rocks.
It's one of the.
It's only 7 grams of carbs.
It's one of the great urban legends right there. Supposedly, your stomach explodes when you're doing it. And, it's kind of like giving seagulls aspirin. Have you heard that
Yes,
one?
yeah.
Have they done it on? Did they ever do it on Mythbusters?
Yes, I think they
They
did,
did.
actually. As well as the other one I was going to suggest that you do is, because I've never seen anyone do it, have a big swig of Coke and then swallow a Mentos. See what happens.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think the Mythbusters busted that one, but I kind of reckon something would happen.
I would think that your stomach acid would.
Well,
take
you've seen
care
a
of lot of
Mentos
it.
in a Coke bottle. Imagine having
Yeah.
a stomach full of Coke and you drop one.
Well, yes, yeah. I mean, what's so funny is that you drop a 5-cent coin in a thing of Coke, and you lose that 5-cent coin.
Yeah.
You're like, I mean, it's the.
You'd be a human Coke fountain.
I mean, like Coke is actually like the one thing that you can use as a it's a floor cleaner.
Yeah.
It's a dessert topping. It's a drink.
And the whole Mentos thing, it's a bit like I like food-related urban legends, like the whole gum that stays in your stomach for 7 years. Apparently that's not true.
Oh, really?
Did you believe that? I always did as a kid.
How do they
Yeah,
know?
why not?
Oh, because apparently
Yeah.
if you look in your
Oh,
shit,
well, I
there
get,
it is.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Well, I was going to say, how do they know it's been in your stomach for 7 years? They put a tracker
Yeah.
on it, like they do a wild animal, and they're
Yeah.
no, it's still in there.
Yeah.
I think maybe because it doesn't break down. And
Yeah.
your parents in the 50s were always scared that their kids couldn't digest it. And carrots are supposed to help you see in the dark.
I wonder if it was, I wonder if it was because it's to stop you from going to sleep with chewing gum, because who hasn't had that stuff caught in their hair and then
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and choke-
Yes.
and
had, to
choke.
cut, had to cut a chunk of it out.
Yeah, that's true. It hasn't happened to you for a while, though, has it, Ben? Got it in your beard a few times, though.
I still have the angel wings.
Yeah. It's called the sexy sides.
My monk burns.
The greatest urban legend of all, I think, is did you know that they say there is prune juice in Dr. Pepper?
Really? I went
That
to
is a legitimate urban legend.
I went
I
to the
don't
Dr.
believe
Pepper
it.
Museum and I did not see that there.
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
a
probably-
secret. It's probably a secret.
Yeah, it's the secret herbs and spices
That's
that makes the Dr. Pepper so tasty.
What a weird and wonderful way to start the show. Welcome to Good Movie Monday. You're listening to the weekly podcast dedicated to nerdy cinematic ramblings. Melzy's here.
Yay.
How are you, Melzy?
I'm good.
Ben's here too. How are you?
I'm good.
That's good. And no gum in your hair.
No gum in my hair. I'm just waiting for Melzy to
Pop rocket.
pop. Yeah, to have the Pop Rocks and the Coke.
You might be waiting a while.
Are we doing? Is that going to be the
reckon.
Tuesday night video?
And if either of you don't do it, I will.
Excellent.
Stay tuned, everybody.
Can we divvy it up?
Yep, absolutely. I've got lots more in the car.
Okay. So then if I die, you die.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah,
It's only fair.
we must video. If you've come to our show because of TikTok, then welcome, because our social media is something that we we champion a lot, and TikTok has blown up recently. We've had a few videos go viral, so welcome to the newcomers from there. Interact with us. We love the comments and you engaging with us.
Imagine
means a
when we
lot.
die on camera this week.
Oh,
So
we-
it's going to go fucking crazy.
right.
Viral.
Yes, it's going to be good. Can't wait. And it
Let
means-
us know, Ben.
And it means we
On the
don't
other
have to
side.
prep next week's show.
Excellent.
And yeah, as I say every week, give us a rating too on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all those places. So a Melzy show means a Melbourne Horror Film Society themed show. And if you haven't guessed already, we're talking about urban legends this week. Melzy, would you like to maybe elaborate? Tell us what's going on at the Film Society and why we're doing this?
Well, buckle in, guys, because there is a lot going on at the Melbourne Horror Film Society this month because it is October now.
Yes.
Yeah, very exciting.
And you're very October-y right now.
I am. I've got my themed clothes and jewellery and all the stuff that I'll be wearing for the entire month, so that's very exciting.
We love it.
I always wear the same clothes all month.
Yeah. You're always ready for October.
Yeah.
And any other month.
Because I'm like Batman. Or Einstein. Or a bum.
So we have 5 screenings coming up this month. So the one that is linked to this show will be taking place on Tuesday, 25th of October, and that is Urban Legend.
Yes.
Can't wait. So that's my screening.
Fantastic. Yeah, your choice. Your
Yeah, my
choice.
choice.
And you'll be presenting.
I'll be presenting. Yay. Yeah, I've been very excited to do that one. But before that, tomorrow night, Tuesday 4th, we've got a watch party on, and I know this always blows your mind, Ben. What are these watch parties about on Discord?
How do you get the link
So on
without
our...
having to talk to someone?
It's only going to be probably me replying to you, for God's sakes. So on our Discord channel server, I don't know, I'm not up with the lingo, but Discord, we are doing a watch party of Freaky.
Oh, the Vince Vaughn one.
Yes.
Which is, for people that don't know, it's Freaky Friday with a horror twist.
Yeah, so much fun. It's available on streaming on Netflix at the moment. So we all access our own copy of it, jump on the Discord and GIF and comment
Fantastic.
and
Have
have
fun.
lots of fun. Yeah, yeah, it's
Wicked.
very fun. So all you have to do is contact. This is the stumbling block for Ben. Just send us a message on any of the socials or send us an email, and we will send you a link to our Discord, and you jump on there, and it's lots of fun. And
If
you
I-
can do it all from the comfort of your own
Mate,
home.
it's like going to an illegal rave. You don't know until the last minute.
yeah.
I just feel like then you'll know that I'm stalking your page.
I was going to say,
Message
yeah.
you and ask for the link.
well,
How else will I have seen it?
it's one way to openly stalk, isn't it?
Yeah. Like it's when you accidentally like someone's post from like 2 years ago.
Isn't that the worst? Particularly if there's boobs.
And then you quickly go, oh, unlike it.
And you wonder whether
And
it
then
showed up.
like it again because you're like, well,
Oh.
no, it's twice.
You're a serial stalker.
It's like, what's wrong with this? Yeah. Like once I accidentally unliked a post that I had liked. and I was like,
ages
oh,
ago?
accidentally-
Yes, I've
and
done
I liked
that
it again, and I'm like,
before.
no, I just was trying to like
Yes.
sometimes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
all been there, mate.
Yeah, we have all been there. So
Horrifying.
after tomorrow night's screening, we're then back in person. We've got the next Blood Ritual at True North in Coburg. So we're moving that night of the month to the second Saturday of every month. So
Excellent.
this month's screening is Trick or Treat.
Yes.
And Trick or Treat, the 1986 film, not Trick or Treat.
With Skippy from Family Ties.
yeah.
Sammy Kerr.
So that's on Saturday the 8th.
Mhm.
Tuesday the 11th, I should have said, get your calendars out. Tuesday the 11th
Just
is
rewind and listen again.
the uninvited, that's true. Uninvited, 1988, sci-fi mutant cat. And that's at Long Play in Fitzroy North on Tuesday the 11th. Tuesday the 18th is 2019's Crawl.
Oh, God, I love that movie.
I haven't seen that one.
It's great.
Oh, yeah.
Alexandra
Can't
Aja.
wait.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, Tuesday the 25th is Urban Legend. So a lot coming up.
Wow. October is chockers.
It is.
Well, to drive that point home, we've also got a fantastic chat this week with Jamie Blanks, the director of Urban Legend. So we're tying that in with all of what you've got going there.
What are the odds?
What are the odds?
Well, it's almost as if we planned it
Oh,
beforehand.
no, it's crazy.
Which,
Well,
which
and-
if anyone knows me, knows is not
It's
possible.
almost like you guys planned it ahead of time, and I showed up.
And so, what better reason to talk about Urban Legend movies? And look, I don't mind if either of you go down that sort of folklore route because that's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Also, in a minute, we've
You're
got...
just saying that because that's what you did.
Yes. Shush. In a minute, we've got Jarrett Garn coming up from Monster Pictures to bring you up to speed with what's coming out on home entertainment this week. Guillermo Troncoso from Screen Realm has a few movie news things, and the blokes from the Bonehead Weekly podcast are also going to run through some of their favourite urban legend movies. Now, have you guys heard that there is an urban legend surrounding Crown Casino and an underground morgue?
Yes.
No.
Yes, I did know that one because a friend of mine actually wrote a script about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I would like to see this put into a movie. So supposedly there's a morgue beneath there
Mm.
because of the fact that a lot of old people in the casino die, and they've got to get them
And
out.
and big losers top themselves.
And big losers top themselves.
Oh, yes,
That's
yep.
an even better story for
Yep,
the urban legend
yes.
myth. And supposedly some of the toilet stalls, the end stall is locked permanently because that's the access to the tunnels that takes them out.
Take you to the morgue, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's tunnels that take
Wow.
you out of the casino to get, ambulances and
Yeah.
that's a fantastic urban
I
legend.
love
I
that.
would love to actually I'd love that to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
surely these buildings designed for tearing people's lives apart have
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
clause. Like
Yeah.
you
Tony
don't want to.
Vegas isn't full of them.
Yeah.
You don't
Happened
want
to a
stop
friend
the
of
other
a friend
people
of mine.
from, yeah, you don't want to stop the people gambling.
No, ahead of time.
with a dead body.
Yeah.
Like you got to get that out of there fast.
Yes,
so people
yeah.
keep spending.
It's the same way
Yeah.
that insane asylums had a death tunnel to get the patients out without the other patients being distressed at the sight of, bodies being wheeled.
Yeah.
Like they weren't already throwing their feces before.
Yeah. I know. But there's also, it's not even an urban legend, but it kind of was for a while that the Queen Victoria Market is built on a graveyard.
Yeah.
And there are
yes.
thousands
yes.
of bodies beneath
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
They didn't relocate them. They're all still
Yeah.
there.
They're there.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like urban legends.
What's
me
the what's the thing in? Is it? I can't remember if it's in Austria or if it's in. I think it's in Austria in one of the kind of Salzburg or one of the kind of Holstead towns. The graveyards, because they're in such high demand. You pay. You don't like you're not interned there forever.
Yeah.
Every year there's a fee you have to pay, and if you stop paying the fee,
You're
or
out.
if your family or your family do or whatever, like they all gone, then someone just gets put on top of you.
Yeah,
and that's
right.
it. That's theirs now.
Fantastic.
They-
I love
I
that.
don't know what. I reckon there'd be.
Stacks on.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of Nine Rush because I'm a human piece of garbage. And there's a great show, Salvage Hunters, which is all about this guy going to antique, all antique dealers and buying antiques and
Yeah.
stuff, antique furniture and stuff mainly. And I was like, and a friend of mine, the guy who wrote the script about the casino, his father owned a jewelry store, and his private passion of jewelry collecting was that like the death jewelry, the mourning jewelry, where you would cut a lock of hair or whatever it is, and you'd put it into a locket. And then these things, hundreds of years old, like, people would kind of buy and sell these things. Like, what happens to all the old tombstones and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, that's the ultimate bit of, like, death, death memorabilia. It's like, I don't know who, Joseph Kearney was, but apparently he died in 1935 and survived by these people who are also dead.
Yeah.
And I've got his tombstone right here in my backyard.
Well, half of the world's wealth would be in graves. Like
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
riches being buried with people.
You got to get to those teeth,
It's a good gig.
those gold teeth.
Ed Gein was onto something.
Yeah.
And there's also, before we throw it to Jared, there's the urban legend that there is a shooting gallery underneath Flinders Street Station. Or
Yeah, right.
Spencer Street.
Mm.
Back in the war, apparently that's because that's the depot where the soldiers have come in and out from the different stations in Victoria and elsewhere in the country. And so they had, just because the soldiers were there as a meeting place, they had a gallery beneath the platforms that was for shooting practice and target practice.
Ah.
And which now it's still there. It's just, blocked up storage, things like that.
It's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles land.
Oh.
Like, here's an abandoned subway station. How awesome would that
Amazing.
Well,
be?
what about was it Lost Boys? The vampires live in a
Yeah.
motel that's
Yeah.
fallen off a cliff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this stuff.
Yeah.
I would explore the shit out of that.
I've
Yeah,
been watching
totally.
Last Resort on Stan,
Yeah.
and that has this is the resort that was partially destroyed by a hurricane
Yeah.
and internal politics, and you're like, it's still there.
Was it? It's
be hanging around in it.
I think it's, if not Seattle, San Francisco. I think Seattle has an underground city because when an earthquake hit, the city sunk and they built on top of it, and you can take tours through the old streets.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's Seattle. So there you go.
That'd be the perfect place to do the tunnel-esque
Oh,
horror film.
gosh, yes. That'd be fantastic. It'd be like a sequel to Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah.
All right, let's throw it over to Jarrett. There we go.
Sleepless Under Seattle.
Hey, this is Jarrett and welcome to PE Class. And I'm going to start this week with some news. Universal Sony Pictures Home Entertainment will release recent theatrical releases Bodies, Bodies, Bodies and Ticket to Paradise on Home Entertainment December 7th. Then you can expect Smile and Moonage Daydream to hit Home Entertainment on December 14. Now moving on to this week's releases, first up Roadshow, and from the Warner catalogue, Roadshow are releasing 2 genre films celebrating anniversaries to 4K Ultra HD this week. The first of which is The Lost Boys, which is having its 35th anniversary, and the second Poltergeist for its 40th anniversary. While neither releases host any new special feature content, both films will port over all the legacy special features from their previous Blu-ray releases. Though that said, Poltergeist will have an archival making of that's yet to appear on any release since the Laserdisc release. Also from Roadshow and from the Warner catalogue, they're releasing Giant, another classic Warner film directed by George Stevens and starring James Dean. Now, also from Roadshow, getting a DVD release only is the Bruce Willis, or one of the final Bruce Willis films that Bruce Willis actually starred in before the deep fake movement that's coming, because I guess you've already heard about that. You know, a company, Deepcakes, licensed Bruce Willis's image, and so Bruce Willis will continue to appear in films long after he's left acting. Anyway, he stars alongside the once great John Malkovich and genre luminary Michael Rooker in this DTV actioner White Elephant. Then from Acorn Media, they're releasing 2 Shudder originals, The Twin and Spine of Night, and they're coming out on Blu-ray and DVD. That's right, Blu-ray is back for the Shudder originals this week. Then Mad Men are releasing David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future on Blu-ray and DVD. Finally, Defiant Screen Entertainment are releasing 2 titles to DVD. The first is Death Pursuit with Vinnie Jones, then the second being American Carnage that stars X's Jenny Ortega. Anyway, that's it for me for this week, so until next time, stay physical.
Well, this is funny. So the new releases that are coming out this week on 4K, 3 of them are attached to actual urban legends. So you've got Poltergeist, that's like riddled with urban legends. The Being a Cursed series. Giant with what's his name? Freaking James Dean. Mm-hmm. The Curse of the Car. That's an urban legend.
Yeah.
And then what Jared didn't mention is there's also a Kubrick collection on 4K, and Kubrick was said to have directed the fake moon landing. So that's an urban legend right there, and that wasn't even planned.
Crazy.
As if we, wrapped this show around the new releases of the week. So anyway, thank you to Jared.
Why on earth would you get Kubrick to direct the fake moon landing? Mr. 200 takes. Oh, can we get the fly? Are we going to get the fly? Like, you want a one and doneer.
Yeah. Well, that's why they say that in The Shining, Danny's wearing the moon landing jumper.
Yes.
As a reference to that. Like,
yeah.
I don't buy it. But Jarrett, thank you. Monster Fest is creeping up closer, speaking of he. Make sure you're across their social media pages to keep up with their announcements and big reveals, many to come. Runs in Melbourne, I believe, Ben, from November 24th to December 4th.
That is correct, sir.
And then elsewhere, Brisbane, Sydney, Adelaide, Perth, December 8th till the 11th.
That is correct.
I hope so, because that's what I've written down. I have been wrong before.
I think I may have sent the poster artist the incorrect dates.
Oh, shit.
I think I said the 13th. It's running a bit longer interstate. That's fine. It's nothing's permanent. It hasn't got a
just
print.
leave a DVD playing.
Yeah. We just put it like an old CRT. We'll pick up a CRT TV from Hard Rubbish and just with a built-in DVD player. And
Wheel it in.
Get one of those preview DVDs that would automatically restart.
Totally. Just loop all the trailers from the previous Monster Fest.
I'll spray paint a silhouette, a stencil of a Monster Fest on it.
Fantastic. There you go. So
that'd be good.
You don't disappoint. Malzy, do you want to kick us off with your first recommendation?
I would love to. So I am starting off with 1998's Urban Legend.
Oh, wow.
Shocker.
Shocker as well.
No.
Oh, okay.
Just the one. The one. Okay. So I was 14 going on 15 when it came out. I think I would have...
I was 14 going on 15.
I'm pretty sure that I would have watched it on DVD with my mum, because that was at that period where we were watching all that sort of thing. And it's like absolutely loved it. So it's very much a reflection of its time in a post-Scream world, in the way of the Kevin Williamson style, like fast-talking teens and wisecracking and ridiculously hot actors.
And meta.
Yes.
And meta. It's also got a lot of nods and Easter eggs to the big horror franchises. And of course, even features Robert Englund, Danielle Harris, and Brad Dourif. So basically, the film starts off with student Michelle Mancini.
Mancini.
Driving in the rain at night. She stops at a gas station and the attendant tries to warn her that, spoiler alert, ... there's someone in the back seat.
That's not a spoiler. It's open scene.
Yeah, I mean, that always reminds me of Body Bags.
Yeah.
That whole sequence.
Yeah.
And it's Brad Dourif.
Well, as we will discover later in the show, there are so many urban legends throughout movies that have included in this film that have
many. Yeah.
filtered their way into other things.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So that that urban legend right there has been in other movies.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's Natasha Gregson Wagner too, is the girl in the car, daughter of Robert Wagner and Natalie. I don't think it is Natalie Wood. I think it's Robert Wood. Definitely Robert Wagner. But it's that was the whole. I mean, I don't know if that's is the whole thing of what happened to Natalie Wood an urban legend.
No,
It's
no.
like
It's just a grey area.
Was she murdered or did she drown?
Yeah.
My favourite is that it was was it Robert Wagner walked in on her and Christopher Walken having an affair and threw her over the side. But no, the better one is Natalie Wood walked in on Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken.
Yes, yeah.
She walked in and Christopher went, "Wow,
whoa, oh."
So a number of murders start playing out around Alicia Witt's character of Natalie, and all in the style of urban legends. Of course, we then get the age-old trope of no one believing Natalie and her trying to prove her theory as more people are picked off. So the first scene, as we just discussed, in particular, has always stuck with me and always freaked me out. Like it's so good.
struck a
Someone
chord.
in the back seat.
Yeah.
It's the first thing I think of when I think of that movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I saw it at the cinemas and I remember thinking, this is better than Scream. I
Yeah,
know that's
yeah.
blasphemous to you, but
I mean, I
that's what I
love
thought.
them both. Like,
Yeah.
I absolutely love them both. Yeah, I mean, who hasn't gotten scared when on a long drive at night and you start to think about someone being in the back seat?
But also, Brad Dourif stutters his way through that scene, right? Because he's essentially doing Billy from Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
And yet, he can't get it out that there's someone
Yeah.
in the but right at the end, he doesn't stutter at all.
Yeah.
There's someone in the back seat.
I know.
Yeah.
Timing.
You just said that from the start.
I know.
And the whole, come into the gas station.
I know, that lock the door, lock the door behind her.
Not like, excuse me, there's someone in the back.
Yeah. The
Get out.
phone's off the hook, like.
You know what? This movie's shit. No, it's not. It's
And
great.
then the other death that really has always stuck with me over the years is the Dean's death with the spikes in the car park. Those spikes, I went for a hike, I don't know, like a couple of months ago, and on the way out you had to drive over the spikes.
Yeah.
And those spikes fucking stress me out
Yeah.
much. Like, it's really stressful.
I think of that scene a lot when I go past them.
Yeah, it's so
The death
well
in
done.
this almost like Final Destination.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So the movie's super fast paced. It's got an awesome soundtrack, super funny, lots of jump scares, is fucking ridiculous if you actually think
totally.
about it. But I think that's like a lot of the charm of it.
That's
Because
horror.
none of it, you just can't think about it, but also it's kind of fun to think about it. This is not possible at all. This is so good,
Yeah,
bro.
that's the thing. I don't understand how. I've never understood in any horror film, not just this one, but there's always you walk into a room and you don't know that someone's
Yes.
Or
yeah.
is there
yeah.
or
No, or
behind
you
you.
walk into a room and don't turn the light on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, because
yeah,
your
yeah,
roommate,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
it's because your roommate's banging.
Yeah. He put her
And
little
she-
shitty headphones on.
she yelled at
straight
you
to
last
sleep.
time.
Just straight to
Yeah.
sleep.
Instead of come on, Alicia Witt,
Yeah.
watch and
Yeah, hello.
Join in.
Yeah, as if you wouldn't be having a little peek. Like, you'd be like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm asleep. Oh,
just
eye open, like,
Mel's has just revealed a lot.
put in that white noise machine and flick the bean to the show.
So as Ben said, it's super meta. The Dawson's Creek gag with Joshua Jackson.
So good.
Fucking good. It's so good. Yeah, it's just so much fun and a huge part of my teen years.
It's a
I
glorious
love
film. It
Yeah.
holds up very well now.
Yeah, it does.
It looks better than all the other slashes of the
It's
time.
beautifully shot.
Yeah,
Like it's stunning.
Well, good way to get us started on Urban Legends. What about you, Ben? What do you got for your first?
Well, funnily enough, I did watch Urban Legends.
Yeah.
And then I heard that Melzi was doing it. So, if it's not you, it's the bonehead. Always stealing my films.
So then did you watch number 2?
Yeah. I watched that.
Which is a good movie. I'm going to put it out there.
Well, look, it's interesting you say that because, like, it had been a long time since, like, I think, same as you, I think I saw Urban Legend at the cinemas.
Yep.
And I don't think I've seen it since then.
Sure.
And I was shocked at how well it held up and how much I really enjoyed it. But then I remember seeing Urban Legend Final Cut
Yeah.
Which is
on
number 2.
video, which
Yep.
is number 2, and thinking it was excellent.
Mhm.
And then watching it again
Underwhelmed?
and going, oh, I don't like. It definitely gets better as it goes, but it does. Like, I mean, they
reckon the opening
really.
scenes,
Which is
But-
cut from the first movie, isn't
Yeah.
it? The opening, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
no,
that's-
is it the airplane scene as the opening scene?
Oh, is it not in the hospital?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. I haven't
Ben
watched
can
it for
tell
ages.
us.
Yeah.
I just watched it. I'm like, what? Hospital?
Yeah,
Plane?
isn't she?
Oh
Like,
no, it's
wheeling
the
him-
plane. Yeah, the plane
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
But
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
movie that they're shooting. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
okay.
like it's the De Palma thing.
Yeah.
Yes,
where they're
yeah.
shooting the
Yeah,
horror
yeah,
movie
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
in the movie.
Yep. Body double.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and blow
And
out.
blow
up,
blow
out.
up or blow out. Whatever the De Palma one is.
Yeah, whatever the Travolta one is.
Yeah.
And Travolta looks unhappy to be working on that film. Shut up! That movie looks awesome.
Yeah.
So it didn't hold up.
It gets better. Thanks to the performance of a couple of the cast members, it does kind of redeem itself at the end. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
Spoil it, who it is, but he really does save the day.
Mhm.
But they try a bit hard with the MacGuffins. They also have to they work way too hard to get the whole the urban legend part into it.
Yeah.
Which is what I found, because it's not really like urban legend is, they discover all these killings are happening and that are based on urban
Yeah.
legends.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, it's virtually halfway through the film that Jennifer Morrison, who is the star of the film, is like, oh, I'm going to make because the movie is, I suppose I should give a bit of context. So basically, the film is set at another university, but this time it's a film school.
Same security guard.
Yep. Yes, she's
Same
so
security
fucking
guard.
good. She's awesome.
So Jennifer Morrison is the kind of lead. Joey Lawrence is one of the other students, which is great. A very early performance, I think, from Eva Mendes as
Yes.
like one of the crew, and she's a minor one.
That's right.
Jessica Caulfield, who would appear in Jamie Blanks' follow-up Valentine.
Valentine, yep.
Anthony Anderson and Michael Bacall are there for the comedy relief, and in my head, they play basically the same characters in Scream 3. Are they in there?
Well, no, was it number 2 of I know what you did last summer? Maybe it wasn't.
I thought that's Jack Black.
Anthony Anderson was in that, wasn't he? Maybe I don't know.
Oh, I haven't
But
watched
which is the one where they're making the movie in Scream?
Number 3.
Is
Yeah,
it 3?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could've
3.
swore- it's Jan Silent Bob, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the
yeah.
crossover.
Yes.
But Jacinda Australian, Jacinda Barrett she's the one at the start who wakes up in the, and that was a scene that was but yeah, so look, they're all in a film, they're at film school, and there's a prestigious award called the Hitchcock,
Yeah.
which launches, apparently if you got the best short film, you get a career in Hollywood. And if you have the second best film or below, your life is over.
You're trash.
That's the theme of
I
the
can
film.
get out of here.
But I remember that
That's
the
hilarious.
opening scene, which I think is the Jacinta Barrett scene, being like, it's the kidney transplant and waking up in a
Ice. Yep.
Yes.
and waking up in a bathtub of ice, and then
Yep.
there's a great bit where she tries to escape out the window, and he grabs her by the kidney
That's
wound,
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
and you see him kind of pull it apart.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's super amazing, but you kind of think the whole scene actually, when you think about it afterwards, is pointless because if he was going to kill her, why did he stitch her back up and put her in the bath of ice? He could have just left her off ice unless he wanted to
Yeah.
harvest more organs. But then he's still wasting a lot of time by cleaning his.
He wanted the
his-
urban legend to,
Yeah,
to come to fruition.
Yeah, it's a really weird one, and that's the killer is a lot more like in the first one. All the killer is wearing is like a parka,
Yeah.
Yep.
and a balaclava covering
Yeah.
their face.
Which
Yep.
is so hilarious.
In this one, they're wearing like a
Fencing mask.
fencing. Yeah,
But it looks cool. Like it's a cool looking.
yeah, it looks cool, and I
thing.
think they're desperately trying to turn it into a franchise at that point by giving you the killer more of a like a
Personality.
Jason
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
look.
Yep.
But look, the effects are pretty cool. Jennifer Morrison's all right as not as good as Alicia Witt, but
Yep.
good as a kind of
Yeah.
the straight man, I guess.
Yep.
But then it's got a pretty good car. Like it does have so
Yeah.
Anson Mount pops up. I think I mentioned that already.
Well, I mean, everybody wanted to be part of what might be the next big franchise, right?
Yeah.
Because Scream had been doing well. I know
Yeah.
it did last summer.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot. Hart Bochner is in it too, which is great from Die Hard.
What year did that come out? Was it a
Uh,
couple of years after?
It's like
it came out
2002?
2000.
2000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's
So
the same as
is
Scream
that
3.
is that a recommendation or is that just a
Look, it's definitely worth. I mean, look. I don't
hey? It's better than Urban Legend 3,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Bloody Mary.
I don't
Yeah.
want to cast dispersions on Bloody Mary, but yeah, this
Well,
one.
let's quickly mention that because this did spawn a franchise, right? So number 3 was Bloody Mary, which
Yeah.
was directed by Mary Lambert,
Yeah.
and that's what blows my mind. She's a,
And written by Michael Dougherty. was
yeah,
one of
right.
The writers.
So like she's the woman that gave us Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
And then she makes Bloody Mary,
Yeah.
which is bloody awful.
Yeah.
Have they ever explained why they've spelt cemetery wrong?
Because kids created the cemetery and they painted
They
the
paint
sign.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the book title as well. I
Yeah,
guess,
right.
Yeah. And did you know there was a 4th urban legend that they retitled for release?
No.
And it ended up being called Ghosts of Goldfield with Roddy Piper.
Oh.
That was Urban Legend 4.
Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Yep.
I might have to watch that.
Freaking
Oh,
awful. I have
yeah.
it here somewhere. You can
I don't
probably
believe you.
borrow it and keep it.
Jeez.
It was released through Peacock back in the day.
Oh well, the mark of quality. erotic thrillers.
So y-
and
So you know
adult gems.
I mean,
and
you know
dodgy horror
the
movies.
franchise has fizzled when they're like, you know what, we don't need a part 4.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
or
yeah,
when
yeah,
Peacock-
yeah.
when
yeah,
Peacock
take
could
our name off
afford
it.
Yeah.
When
So-
you've already had Bloody Mary come out.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the big mistake there is turning what is a slasher franchise into a supernatural franchise. You don't do that.
Yeah.
Which I think I know it did last summer, did with part 3 as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Which are urban legend movies,
Yeah.
if you think about that.
Yeah.
All
The
right.
Man in the Hook.
The Man and the Hook.
Yep.
Alrighty, good one. Let's check out what Guillermo's got to say, play a song, and then we'll come back for more.
What's happening, everybody? It's Guillermo here from ScreenRealm.com and ScreenRealm on YouTube. As always, I'm here to tell you about a few of the big movie news stories you may have missed or heard about during the last week. And we've got some big stories, kicking off with Hugh Jackman reprising his role as Wolverine in the upcoming Deadpool movie. That's right, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman took to YouTube with a video with both of them confirming that, yes, indeed, Deadpool 3, which is going to be the first Deadpool movie in the MCU, will be bringing back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. There is, of course, not much at all known about Deadpool 3, although we do know who's directing, and that is Sean Levi, who directed Ryan Reynolds in Free Guy and The Adam Project, and whose credits include the Night at the Museum movies, Date Night, Real Steel, and 10 episodes of Stranger Things, which he executive produces. As of now, Deadpool 3 is expected to be released in cinemas in September 2024. A third installment in the Now You See Me franchise has been greenlit, and the director has been chosen. At the helm will be Ruben Fleischer, whose credits include Venom and the recent Uncharted movie. And behind the screenplay will be Seth Grahame-Smith, whose credits include Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, as well as the Lego Batman movie. Said Fleischer in a statement, "There are 3 things in this world I absolutely love: Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, and magic. To have the chance to work with these 2 talented actors, as well as the rest of the incredible cast of the Now You See movies, is a dream come true. I am a lifelong fan of heist movies. I love getting drawn in by twists and the mystery where nothing is what it seems, and that's even more true when the thieves are magicians. The opportunities are endless." End quote. It's actually a little surprising that it's taken this long for a third Now You See Me movie, considering that the first 2 combined made over $686 million worldwide. Armor Wars. That was one of the shows that Marvel Studios had in line for Disney+, but now that's being redeveloped as a feature film. Among the main characters of the project is Colonel James Rhodes, aka War Machine, and he remains the focus of the movie, with Don Cheadle reprising the role. Screenwriter Jesse Laster, who was acting as the head writer on the series, will remain as the feature screenwriter. Hollywood Reporter broke that news, reporting that as of now there's still no director, and if the plan for a 2023 start of production has changed. Ozark star and director Jason Bateman has signed up to direct a Netflix thriller. The streaming giant has preemptively acquired the feature rights to an upcoming book titled Dark Wire, which uncovers the true story of how the FBI launched a fake telecom company and became a phone service provider to some of the world's most notorious gangs, which culminated in the arrest of more than 1,000 international criminals. The book is from Joseph Cox, who is a journalist at Vice Motherboard. Adapting the screenplay is Matthew Orton, known for Operation Finale. Jason Bateman previously directed films Bad Words and The Family Fang. The next film from director Yorgos Lanthimos, whose credits include The Favourite and The Lobster, has signed up Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe and Margaret Qualley. Still no plot details known for the film, which has been titled And. Lanthimos is also writing the screenplay with Themis Philippou, hope I'm saying that right, who have previously worked together on Dogtooth, The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer, among other works. That about does it for me, guys. Be sure to go to YouTube and hit Screen Realm up there. Every week I provide a video movie news rundown covering some of these biggest news stories in much more detail. This past week I was also lucky enough to conduct a video interview with producer, writer, creator and director Brian Fuller. We chat about the new Shudder series Queer for Fear, and of course I had to ask him about Hannibal and a potential 4th season there. Thanks so much everyone, catch you next week.
Hey guys, did you know that if you have the Newsly app on your phone and you type in urban legends into the search bar, it's going to find a whole lot of news articles and stories from around the world, and it's going to put them right into the palm of your own hand. That's the magic of this thing. Newsly is a super app, and it coordinates and tailors news articles and stories from all around the world, over 80 countries in fact, and puts them all into your phone. This is really handy if you're in a position when you can't possibly read on your phone because you're driving somewhere or you're just at the gym, whatever. It's going to read all of these things straight to you. So all of that news, all of that content right in your ear hole in a really natural human voice too. The best part of this is it's a free app. Costs you nothing. It's the best place to listen to the Good Movie Monday podcast. Here's the kicker though, if you want to give their premium service a try, why wouldn't you? You get a free month if you use the Monday code. MNDAY, Monday without the O. Punch that in, you'll get a free month of premium service. Can't get better than that. Get the Newsly app on your phone or visit newsly.me now. that song there was called "Man in the Moon." It was a band called Imperial Drag from a 1997 movie called Campfire Tales. Do you remember this one?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oddly enough, it's my first recommendation.
I'll have to watch it.
I'm going to keep this tight though because we are going to throw to our conversation with Jamie Blanks in a moment. But Campfire Tales, like I said, 97, 3 directors. It's an anthology horror film. And the premise is essentially a bunch of teenagers that are driving home from a concert, have an accident. It's in the middle of the night. So whilst they're waiting for help to arrive, they light a campfire in an old abandoned hospital and tell campfire stories. And they're all urban legends. And look, it's a strange movie. I'll go quickly through the 3 stories that they tell. The first one is The Honeymoon, which is about 2 honeymooners that stop in an RV park and they're tormented by an unknown creature. And it's the whole story of the cops rocking up and saying, don't look back, come towards us, don't look back. And of course, there's someone hanging above their RV or their car and they're hanging and their toes are scraping the roof.
Joshua Jackson.
Exactly. So each of these stories have wound up in the Urban Legends movies, right? Because this came first, so, got to it. But the second one is about the predator that's under the bed and licks the girl's hand, and she thinks it's the dog, which I think is in Urban Legend Final Cut. That's one of my favourite urban legends, that one. Like, is that not the creepiest thing ever?
So creepy.
But I think Campfire Tales tells it really well. Like, it's a really good rendition of it.
Any hand licking is a bit creepy.
Yeah. I'm glad my dog sleeps on my bed. So
yeah. And then the third one is a weird sort of history repeating itself kind of moment with a stranger on a farm and an axe murdering father. And I can't quite figure out where the urban legend is because it's not one I'm aware of, but it's always
and then
that
Shirley Bassey and the propeller heads.
it's always the licking one that really does it for me.
He's licking me.
Sorry, that tickled me.
It's my favorite bit out of Ravenous.
Oh my goodness. The cast is pretty good, but firstly, this one was released straight to video back in our video store days, Ben. I don't know if you remember it on the shelves, but I felt like it was a cut above most of the direct-to-video ones. The cast had up-and-comers like James Marsden, Amy Smart, Ron Livingston's in there, Christopher Masterson, Glenn Quinn, if you remember him from Buffy.
Yeah.
The Irish guy that died. And then, as you mentioned before, Aussie actress Jacinda Barrett. So there you go. That was one of her first films.
Cast, yeah.
Yeah, so a forgotten movie from the 90s. I reckon it's worth looking up. I think it's on YouTube for free. So have a squiz. But hey, should we talk to Jamie Blanks, Ben, or have we already? No, we caught up with him just the other day. Pulled together fairly last minute by yourself. Thank you, sir. That was much appreciated.
Jamie is a very, very nice man.
So we've spoken about it. Yeah, we've spoken about Urban Legend. Let's maybe get the story straight from the horse's mouth.
This is what we call an urban legend. The babysitter and the man upstairs.
Begin hide the initiation.
About a guy in a woman's backseat.
Urban legend.
Someone's taking all these urban legends and making them reality.
Rated R. Now playing.
Jamie, thank you for dropping in, mate. It's I hope you're well. It's great to be chatting with you. This week on our show, we're talking about urban legends in cinema, and I don't think there's anybody that's better to talk to than you for that.
Yeah, I was responsible for that movie.
I know, like over the years, you've gone into great detail to talk about how you landed this gig, and you were passed over with Scream, and I know what you did last summer. Those stories are pretty well documented. What I'm interested to know, though, is going from a student filmmaker at Swinburne in Melbourne to, I guess, making one of the biggest horror films of the year in Hollywood, or Canada as it was. Was that a shock to your system? Like, how do you react to that when you're in your 20s?
It was great. I mean, I thought that they might come to their senses and hire a real director at some point, and I was going to get kicked to the curb. But no, they were wonderful, very supportive of me. They knew that I loved the genre, and I was very passionate about the genre. And I even had dinner with Wes Craven, Silvio, the screenwriter, and I got to have dinner with Wes one night, and we were both very keen to make sure we didn't screw up what he'd just started by making a bad slasher movie in the wake of Scream. We wanted to make sure that we kept the quality high, and we tried to bring a lot more production value and style to the to the movie than the average slasher film had up to that point. So that was kind of our goal, was to make a really fun, film in the spirit of Scream without ripping it off. And I thought Silvio done a really great job coming up with a really fun concept that kind of stood on its own.
I'm really curious though how you handle like going from doing like student films and short films and your own stuff with your friends to having to deal with heads of department and studio executives and cinematographers and the whole.
It was actually it was great because everyone was actually getting paid on this one. They're all happy to be there. I wasn't having to beg, borrow, and steal to get the movies made. So really very similar to what we've been doing in the past. Just we had a lot more resources and a lot more. I had a lot more help around me. People who've made more movies than I had that I could lean on and ask questions. And I was never afraid to ask a question. Like if I didn't know the answer to something, I wasn't going to just try and bluff my way through, like pretend that I knew everything. I was quite open with the fact that I'm making my first movie and this is what I'm trying to achieve and what's the best way we can achieve that result. And people were really happy to help me. So it was a great experience. I had a really, really good time. I definitely felt thrown in the deep end. It was particularly nerve-wracking the first day, but once I got beyond that, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it.
Well, like I can just thinking about myself in that position now, and like my trousers are turning a shade of brown.
I was about to say I would be shitting myself.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking at times. I mean, my biggest fear was that I was going to get behind schedule. As long as you're delivering good rushes and you're staying on top of your schedule, the pressure's off. I'm not going to bring about as much scrutiny over what I'm doing. And the studio were very happy with the rushes, and I was just really careful with my line producer, Michael McDonald, to make sure we stayed on. We had realistic days, that we were supposed to get through a realistic amount of schedule, and then I made my days. So as long as I stayed in that lane, I was good.
You spoke about Wes Craven starting this whole new movement or new wave of slashes through the 90s. I think Urban Legend is a much better looking film than Scream. Like I really, really love this one, and I watched it recently, like just prepping for this conversation, and I was blown away by how amazing it looks, and it holds up really well. It's got a really sort of gothic look that a lot of the contemporaries at the time didn't have. Was that something that came off the page, or was that you putting yourself into it?
That was something that I was looking for. I mean, when we were scouting locations, I definitely wanted to find some, gothic kind of architecture. And the University of Toronto apart from the fact that university is right smack bang in the middle of a city, and our university is supposed to be out in a rural area, apart from that, it was ideal. So I just had to make sure I avoided seeing any skyline in the background. And then we actually went to another university further north in Canada and did some aerial stuff to kind of place it in that sort of rural setting. So yeah, the University of Toronto was just fantastic. There's really, we had full access to the university. I mean, I felt sorry for the kids that were doing exams, and I had lightning blasts going off every bloody night while they're trying to study. So I probably didn't endear myself to too many of those kids. But it was a great location, and it really there was that gothic look that I was after, and it was we just really lucked out there.
Were there any like movies in your mind that you were mentally turning to for inspiration, given that you had the gothic thing?
Well, not so much in terms of the architecture, but I made my cinematographer look at Catherine Bigelow's Blue Steel for lighting that I really liked. I had him look at Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and Evil Dead 2 in terms of some camera work that I was trying to emulate at times, and we just sort of sat down and blasted through a whole lot of movies that I wanted to draw inspiration from one way or the other, and I just made him watch a whole lot of stuff that he probably normally wouldn't be watching. But
I was going to say, is that one of the best parts of being a director of a film, is that you get to force your crew to love the films that you love? Like you send them to boot camp of like, this is the good stuff.
Yeah, I sort of do. I mean, a few of my crew members were kind of into horror. Michael Rosenbaum was a big horror film nut. So he was really into all that stuff. But no, it is kind of fun forcing the some of these people to watch movies and kind of get a sense of where you're coming from stylistically.
I heard or read somewhere recently that you made the same mistake I did when you landed in Canada and didn't dress for the occasion. And so I remember my eyelids freezing shut.
Yeah, it was freezing. I just come from LA, and I sort of packed my bags in a hurry. This thing happened really quickly for me. So I wasn't really prepared for Canada. So I made sure once I got to Canada, I bought lots of appropriate clothing because, I'd only been to the snow a couple of times in my life and hadn't really experienced sub-zero temperatures until I got to Toronto.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I just watched this video on YouTube about this couple who are immigrating to Canada from the UK. And they were warned, like, you need to dress appropriately. And they're like, we're from the UK. Like, how cold's it going to get? It's not going to be a problem. And getting there and just like in the airport, like all of the staff at the airport as they're leaving going, hang on, are you sure you're ready to leave the airport?
Yeah, I'd flown in from Hawaii, so that was a massive culture.
Oh, wow.
So
when we were scouting locations, everything was still under snow. So I had to actually ask for photographs of some of these locations in the summer months because I really couldn't tell what they were going to look like once the snow was going to thaw out. So, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. So phenomenal cast here too. Jared Leto, Alicia Witt, Rebecca Gayheart, Michael Rosenbaum, as you said, Joshua Jackson, just to name some.
I can't believe that when you started that train, Jared Leto was the first name.
Well, no, Jared Leto, he was the only one who came with the project. The studio wanted Jared in the movie. I didn't know who he was. I didn't watch his TV show or anything, but I was happy to take Jared on as they wanted. I mean, it was my first movie. I didn't really carry a whole lot of clout, but the studio let me cast everyone else. So, I mean, that whole cast we discovered in the audition process, and we got really lucky. I mean, we found some fantastic people.
I was going to say
all of which have gone on to amazing things.
Amazing things. I was going to say, but between Urban Legend and Valentine, you cast every single one of my crushes of that period.
Oh, that's good.
Josh Jackson.
When I cast Claudia Carvin in Long Weekend, so many of my Australian mates confessed to me that they'd grown up having a huge crush on Claudia. So
big steal all the way.
Heartbreak Kid, the whole thing.
But I want to know, Ben, like, who would you have led with when you're listing off the actors?
Oh, Alicia Witt, or Brad Dourif, or Robert Englund.
Well, I'm getting to them. Beating me to the punch. But I think enough time has passed now, Jamie, that you can probably dish some dirt on some of them. Who was an asshole?
Oh, I'm not good. I would never say. That's very unprofessional of me.
All right, so Ben, let's do the whole Robert Englund, Brad Dourif thing. I remember, like obviously two of Hollywood's biggest boogeymen, but I remember watching this at the cinemas, and at the time, Brad Dourif was like my favorite actor of all time. And was it a pinch yourself moment to have these guys in your film? Like, what would they like to work with?
Oh, they were wonderful. I mean, Brad sort of popped into my head when I was reading that opening scene. It must have been because of the stuttering character he played in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or something. But I imagined Brad for some reason in my head when I was reading the script, and it was so wonderful that he actually agreed to do that little cameo in the movie. So I loved working with Brad. We had a lovely time working together. It was only 3 or 4 nights, and poor Brad was constantly being drenched in the rain, but he would be standing around the gas heaters between takes, and all that moisture would evaporate off him in steam. He looked like his character from Spontaneous Combustion. and I told him, you reminded me of that movie. He goes, you watched that piece of shit and you gave me a job? You need your head read, Jamie.
I find it so amazing that so many of these guys look back on their career and these movies that we absolutely idolize, and they are like, oh, really?
Yeah.
That?
I've got a signed copy of Class of 1984 signed by Tim Van Patten, who played Stegman. And he hates the movies. So I think, thanks, Jamie, for suffering through this movie. I'm like, one of my favorite films.
Suffering through it.
He's great in the movie, too. So Brad was wonderful, and so was Robert Englund. I mean, he actually came in for an audition, and it hadn't even dawned on me to think of using Robert until my casting director sort of suggested him. I'm like, that's an amazing idea. He comes with all that great baggage from Elm Street, and he was such a lovely man. And I said, you don't even really need to read for the role, Robert. If you want to do this part, I mean, the part's yours. He goes, well, I'm here, I'll read for it. And it was fantastic, and I literally offered him the part on the spot. It was it was just a joy working with those guys. And we had Danielle Harris from Halloween. So yeah, we got many of the horror franchises kind of ticked off along the way with little cameos.
They make great MacGuffins in the film. Like because of the baggage that they bring with them, everyone automatically thinks, "Oh, I know what I bet you this is what's going to happen," and really helps the whole film.
Right. Yeah. No, it really does, and a lot of horror fans kind of really responded to the fact that these people were in the film. So it was it was just a fun little thing to do, and I just it was a great chance for me to get to work with some people that I admired for such a long time.
I think there was some really interesting and very cool marketing with this one. Like you had the pop rocks. I think you were sending out to. Was it the premiere? You had pop rocks given to the audience.
Yeah, I think Sony Pictures did something like that. That was a fun idea.
I am curious. How did you deal with like a lot of the urban legends that you cover in the film and stuff? Have and it is an element of the film that they all have. There's different tellings and different things. Like how did you kind of? You and obviously the screenwriter kind of decide which versions you were going to go with?
Well, we sort of landed on the most popular kind of the most common telling. We wanted. I mean, it was good. Being Australian, I'd heard many of those urban legends. There's a couple like the gang high beam initiation. I'd never heard of that one and stuff, but I knew most of the other ones. So it was kind of obvious. I thought, well, if I know them, in Australia, they're kind of going to have some sort of universal appeal. So I tried to kind of steer them into the direction of the ones that we knew the best, and also which versions worked best for our movie, and for our scenes and setting. Yeah.
You should think about doing like an Aussie remake and doing all the Aussie urban legends and making it completely ochre.
Yeah. It would be fun. I just saw Eli Roth's done a TV series where he's dramatizing some of these urban legends that comes out in October.
All right. We're looking out for that one. You mentioned before, like you took some influence from like your Nightmare on Elm Streets and Evil Deads and things like that. So I'm curious about whether or not you have ever seen the sequel to Urban Legends, Final Cut, because I know that your producer Gina Matthews went on to produce that one. What do you think of that film?
They offered that to me. I was developing another picture at Phoenix at the time, and I wasn't interested in doing the sequel without Silvio and without the we had a kind of idea for a sequel to the movie that we sort of set up at the end of the first movie, but they went in a different direction, and they asked me a couple of times to do that, but I just wasn't interested in doing the sequel.
No,
but it is funny, like now that I think about it, there is that, like Rebecca Gayheart at one point does talk about the whole bath of ice transplant thing, and then they kind of lead off with that in the
they needed to that was shot after the fact. They tested the movie and it was testing badly. They needed to amp up the film, so they actually went back and shot that whole kidney heist thing as a pickup sequence. So that was done after the fact, but
it's the best part of the film, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's probably the most intense part of the movie. Yeah,
and that was what written by Scott Derrickson, who just
that's right.
Phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're just about out of time, but I just want to thank you so much for hanging out with us, mate. Your work definitely means a lot to me. I think that particularly Storm Warning is one of my favorite Aussie horror films of all time. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm very proud of Storm Warning. We put a lot of work into that movie. That it was a minor miracle we got to shoot that in 24 days, considering how many practical effects and things there were in the film.
Mate, I would love to have you back to chat about that one. It's a very
anytime.
I do. Just before you go, Jamie, I did want to ask who is responsible for the Dawson's Creek gag with Joshua Jackson.
That was me. That was me. I said to Josh, I said on one of the takes, I said, just on this one, pretend the theme song of your show just popped on for 2 seconds and react appropriately. And he did. And then when we did the preview screening, we used that take and dropped in the track just to see how, and it tested that was the most popular moment in the entire movie. They had to go and license that track just for those, second and a half of music. So, but yeah, the audience really loved that. And it was kind of us being a little meta and kind of letting the audience in on the fact that we're not taking this all seriously, that we're all, just having a bit of fun.
Awesome stuff, man. And that is hilarious. But yeah, thanks so much. It's awesome to have you on the show, and let's have you back to discuss some other stuff.
Anytime, guys. It was great to see you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Welcome to Bonehead Weekly Fun Size. Chad got something large in his throat.
Cholera. Chad has cholera.
I was Flimmy.
Yeah, Flemmy. He sang from that one band, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, go, Chad. We're talking about urban legend movies.
So there's many ways.
Here and say it 5 times.
Yeah, there's many ways I could go with this, but when you're talking about urban legends,
yeah,
I want to talk about when any chance I get. Just like James, I want to talk about Nicolas Cage. I'm going to talk about 8mm.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
So it's all about the urban legend of a snuff film. If you don't know what a snuff film is, it's a film where somebody actually is murdered.
Yeah,
and a man comes
and pretend murdered.
Yes, and Nicolas Cage is a detective, private detective, and he is hired by this man who says, somebody sent me this film. Please find out if it's real or not.
He's hired by the widow.
Well, the widow, yes, of the man. Sorry, James, correct.
Have you seen the movie, Chad? Runs about 95 minutes.
Is watching Nicolas Cage go deep down into this well, and it's Joaquin Phoenix too, in a lesser known role that he doesn't get credit for, as well.
But he's really well. He's
really
good.
Really good, and it's an amazing film. One of Joel Schumacher's best. Not DC Cab great, but it's still great.
Well, and what I love about it, there's a great exchange, and I won't ruin it for anybody, with the villain.
Yeah, the machine, right?
The machine, yeah. And where he has this entire thing. And if you want a movie that goes into why is he the way he is, his response when he's encountering Cage, and he has this line about, you probably wonder why I am the way that I am. I'm not going to do the rest of the line, but it's one of my favorite lines.
Yeah, in
just movies. It's just
also
great.
Also, too, one that's real quickly. If you love Peter Stormare, he is a great villain in this movie. I highly recommend checking it out.
It's so quotable. Don't make me repeat myself. I sound so stupid.
All
Peter
right.
Stormare.
Really quick, because we got 5 minutes. Mine is going to be baby alligators in the sewers. We're going to talk about 1980s Louis Teague's Alligator. So it's even a line but it's even in E.T. She goes, alligators in the sewers. It was a urban legend, urban myth for years and years and years. People buy these baby alligators. They get a little too big and they flush them down the toilet.
I wonder if that's specifically an American urban legend. I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, do you have crocodiles?
They have crocodiles in their sewers.
They'd be flushing down the crocodiles down the sewer.
But Glenn and Ben, let us know if this is
rabbits. Maybe it's rabbits there.
Do you have a legend where something gets flushed down the toilet and mutilates human beings?
Well,
Joe,
other than our careers. Joe, would you say something?
Yeah, I don't know who I am. I was going to do the damn thing, but screw it. Anyway, it's the reason the alligator gets big is it starts eating laboratory dogs that are also down the sewer. Really quick, it's the only movie directed by Louis Teague and written by John Sayles. Actually, that's not accurate, but John Sayles, who went on to not only be nominated for Oscars and make wonderful films, wrote a bunch of B movies, and it stars the wonderful Robert Forster, Henry Silva, and Royce D. Applegate. You would know him if you looked him up. You'd be like, that guy. So check out Alligator. It's on Freevee. Next.
All I was saying about is in honor of Laurel Hightower in her book Below, I wanted to mention the Mothman Prophecies that stars Richard Gere and Laura Linney about the Mothman. And it's literally, if you don't know anything, just go in blind. It's perfectly fine. But the Mothman they have festivals dedicated to the Mothman.
Well, yeah, they still have the Mothman Festival in West Virginia, right?
Yeah, and so it's a localized thing that has spread, but it's allegedly, if you see the Mothman, it's a portent of doom.
Not quite as cool as the Woolly Booger. Look up the Woolly Booger of West Virginia.
Or the Boggy Creek. We could have went with Boggy Creek.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, this has been Bonehead Weekly Fun Size.
All sorts of supernatural critters.
Alrighty, good old boneheads there. The question they posed there at the end is, alligator in the sewer a myth that's American only? I think it must be. I've never heard of that here. I mean, we've heard of that myth. We watch movies, duh.
Well, I only heard of it the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard of snakes, like snakes in the dunny, like coming up through the cistern.
Which actually happens. I've seen the videos.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch one of my favorite Instagram channels is that Sunshine Coast Snake? the Sunshine Coast Snake Wranglers or whatever it is.
Yeah,
where
yes, yeah.
They go around to people's houses and get rid of it. Like they pulled one out of a carburetor in a car the other day, and
I think we've had it
stuff
on the
like
news
that, and you're
before.
like,
But
You're like,
to address the boneheads, though, like this alligator in the sewer myth, I think the best urban legend we would have as Aussies would have to be the drop bear, which is not even an urban legend, but it's something that we inflict upon the
Dingo
Americans.
Girl.
Oh, Dingo Girl.
Dingo Girl
The
is
Nullarbor
pretty
Nymph.
good. The Nullarbor Nymph, yeah.
that is a good one.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Nullarbor
No.
Nymph? There's a movie made about her.
And Pandemonium as well. Dingo Girl is the Nullarbor Nymph.
Yes, of course.
So it's about this girl who's like, I think, ends up, for whatever her
Feral,
parents die or whatever it is.
Yeah.
She's raised like Romulus and Remus before her. She's raised by dingoes in the scrub in the Nullarbor, and occasionally preys on unsuspecting tourists for sex and flesh.
Yes. Oh, and of course
much like your good self, Mel.
Yeah, I'm like, this is sounding familiar.
And I mean, in our neck of the woods, we've got the big black cats. They're definitely urban myths. Like, they're like our Bigfoot, if you will. You got the Tasmanian tiger.
Tasmanian tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got a few. Good ones. Yeah. Anyway, thank you
The
to the
Honest
boneheads.
Politician is my favorite. Favorite urban legend.
Shit. So follow the Boneheads wherever you get podcasts from. Watch them on YouTube. Thank you to Joe, Chad, and James. Malzy, I reckon it's your time
Ooh,
to
my
go
turn
next.
again.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Fire at will.
Okay, so my second recommendation is 1992's Candyman.
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 You guys are on your own.
Candyman.
I'm just going to hang out over here with Bloody Mary.
Which is a funny thing when you watch the movie Bloody Mary, the urban legend, they talk about how Candyman ripped it off.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God. Yet your movie came many years later.
Yeah. So Candyman is based on Clive Barker's The Forbidden, which is a short story from Book of Blood, Volume 5.
Great book.
So the film starts off with the classic telling of the Candyman urban legend at the start. And then after that, after you get the first kill, we're then transported into a university lecture hall where the class is going through the alligator urban legend. Yeah, so when I was watching that, I was like, I just heard about that. I'm so up with it.
Anything about drop bears?
No, not in this one. Or modern urban folklore in class. So Virginia Madsen plays Helen, who's a post-grad conducting research for her thesis and learns of the Candyman, which is a spirit who kills anyone that says his name 5 times, we only said it 4, in front of a mirror. And there's no mirror in here, so I think we're okay. Helen's husband, Trevor, is a university professor and the absolute villain of the film. Fucking Trevor is the fucking worst. You've got the...
the toilet. The toilet in the film, that toilet is the worst.
Dang.
So filthy and like... imagine being so desperate you had to use that toilet.
But you can clean a toilet, you can't clean a Trevor.
That's true. You can take Trevor out of the toilet, but you can't take the toilet out of Trevor.
Exactly. So, oh my God, Tony Todd. Like, I only rewatched this for the first time the other night. Like, I'd seen it a million years ago, like when I was much younger. And so I didn't know if I was going to get time this week, but I knew that I, really should rewatch it. Oh, fuck.
It's a genuinely
so
scary movie.
Good. Oh my God. It's so good.
I
Tony
think it's
Todd,
actually scary, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm going to say a million things here that everybody knows because everybody fucking loves it. And if you don't, watch it and you will. So Candyman is Tony Todd as Candyman. He's like a Phantom of the Opera sort of classical monster type, and he completely evokes like empathetic feelings towards him. And like then you've got these upper class dweeby up themselves academic assholes like Trevor and his mates. So like choose Tony Todd. Helen, choose Tony Todd. Be his victim. Like fuck the rest of them. Oh my God, they're awful. And yeah.
So I know that like number 2 explores his backstory. Does number 1 go into it at all? I can't remember because he was a slave.
Oh yes, only like a little
Which
bit.
is interesting because Clive Barker's story is a white guy takes place in Liverpool.
Yes,
So yeah, it's a great movie. I I think it's a pretty good 1 and 2. I think number 2 is pretty good.
Oh,
number
I
3
haven't
is pretty
seen it.
horrendous.
Yep.
But the recent reboot they did is tied in directly with number 1.
With number 1, yeah.
And that's pretty good too.
Yeah, I
like how
want to see that.
in this world of remakes and reboots, they're like the first one, the popular one is the good one. We'll just retcon all the other ones out of there. It's like, oh no, that never happened. It's coming straight into the sequel.
The old Halloween. So the film very heavily delves into themes of race and social class as it's set at Cabrini Green, which was a notorious housing project in Chicago.
Luckily, those things aren't issues anymore.
Oh, totally. And Helen and her best friend visit there and meet some of the residents while looking into the murder of one of the Candyman's supposed victims. The film also discusses the importance of keeping the urban legend being spread, and talked about, for the myth to be able to continue to exist. And Candyman doesn't even need to be doing anything or committing murders, but if the story is still being talked about, then that's just as effective or even more so, which is, very much of the urban legend story. So the score, wow.
Is it like Christopher Smith? Who's don't remember. I shouldn't have asked you.
No, you shouldn't have.
You haven't got it written down.
Yeah, no, I don't. Ben on the...
but you're right. It's haunting.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's so good.
And I know this is what I do. Is I always take things from the original one and talk about the sequel. But number 2 was directed by Bill Condon, I think it was, the guy that made. Is it? Oh, fuck! I've lost my train of thought.
That's what you get.
Yeah. Look him up. No, it's directed by a guy like maybe Gods and Monsters or...
what's her name did the score for this one?
Who's that?
Jan Brady's... I always think of him as Jan Brady's fake boyfriend. But it's Philip Glass.
Yeah, Philip Glass, that's right.
But it's not Philip Glass.
Philip Glass from the Queen of Scotsy series. Yeah.
But it's actually... I think it's John Glass or something is actually Jan's boyfriend.
Right.
No, it's George Glass.
George Glass?
Yes, and thank you for just, steering me away from not being able to think of what that director made.
Yeah.
It's homework for people.
Edit.
No, it's staying in.
They also, it's only quickly seen, but another urban legend that is touched upon is the razor blades in the
apple.
In the candy.
Oh, in the candy, yes.
Yeah, that.
I love all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, same, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that's a perfect urban legend movie. And
so good.
I'm going to steer things into a little different direction for my final recommendation. I think I've saved the best for last.
Okay.
An unexpected choice, a wonderful 1987 family classic, Harry and the Hendersons, starring John Lithgow, Melinda Dillon, Don Ameche, and Kevin Peter Hall as Bigfoot, Harry himself. And this is a movie that was massive in the 80s. This was huge on home video. Everyone knew it, everyone loved it. But then it disappeared entirely. It didn't get an Aussie release for years and years. And it almost became an urban legend of itself. It was that movie that everyone remembers, but you can't get your hands on. Do you remember it being big?
I remember it being huge.
Yeah.
But then I remember it sporting a TV series, which I was a lot more familiar with.
Get into that too,
because it was on every night.
Damn straight.
I wonder if that's what I remember.
Yeah.
The
So
TV series.
the story itself has the Henderson family on vacation, coming home from a wilderness vacation, and they hit Bigfoot with a car. And they assume he's dead, and it's like, Bigfoot, this is a big deal. This is a fine. So they strap him to his car and they drive him home. Of course, he's still alive. And one of the best scenes in the film is when he wakes up in the middle of the night and practically turns the house upside down, going through their fridge, looking for stuff, trying to get out, all that kind of thing. And that scene, I might add, was directed by Steven Spielberg.
Oh.
Yes, so he was a producer and he came in and did that scene, and you watch it and you know it.
Yeah.
But it turns out Harry Bigfoot is a big, lovable lump. He's a gentle giant, and the family...
He's a goofball. He's a big old goofball.
Oh, he's a huge goofball, and the family falls in love with him. Don Ameche plays a Bigfoot expert that comes along to help them, and he falls in love with Harry too. And then it becomes a really sort of sweet, heartfelt comedy drama.
It becomes Alf after that.
Yes,
it does, but there's some really gut-wrenching stuff when they realise they have to send Harry back into the wilderness, and the only way to do so is for John Lithgow to turn on him and be nasty and,
Oh, yeah.
tell him how much
that.
he's not wanted. And Harry doesn't understand, and I remember watching like Variety doing that. When actors run through their career of roles and they talk about them. And John Lithgow said something to the effect of that was one of the most surprising films he's made, where you went into it thinking this is a stupid
Yeah.
little thing just to make some money, and he came out of it going, that was a very difficult, emotional roller coaster of a film.
Yeah.
Directed by William Deere, who made Time Rider, which we've talked about on the show. He made Wild America, If Looks Could Kill, great movie. Simon Says, the Crispin Glover slasher movie in the woods.
Yeah.
And yeah, as I said, Spielberg produced it. And Rick Baker, the makeup artist, won an Oscar for this one. So it actually is an Academy Award winning film. And then came the TV series, Ben, 1991, and that had Bruce Davison taking over the role from John Lithgow. And that was a show that was as good. Like, it was a really, really quality sitcom. And it was still played by, what did I say? His name was Peter Kevin Hall, played Bigfoot. He's the guy that was the original Predator.
Predator, yeah.
And he was in it for the TV show too.
No, Van Damme was the original Predator.
Well, he was, as our TikTok will inform.
Oh, is that
one of the trivias?
One of the trivias?
Yes. So yeah. Anyway, Harry and the Hendersons. I just think it's a wonderful, wonderful family film. Everybody should get behind and track down. It's on a streaming service, and it is an urban legend. You know? It's a folklore, but also an urban legend because everyone knows someone that has seen a Bigfoot or has a photo of Bigfoot or a video of Bigfoot. So I think it fits in.
I went to the
nicely.
museum, the really weird museum in Austin, Texas.
Yep.
And they had a Bigfoot. They had like a Neanderthal man on ice.
Yeah.
And a Bigfoot.
Yeah, Sasquatch.
That's Sasquatch. It's
Beautiful.
great.
Love it.
I saw them all. I've seen them. I've seen Bigfoot.
Good Movie Monday is made possible with the support of people like Viewlorium. Viewlorium is a streaming platform for rare and obscure movies, and it's absolutely free. They also have a catalogue full of kids' flicks, classic movies, foreign cinema, and more. Visit viewlorium.com today to see what it's all about.
Can I just talk about a half recommendation that I have, or a 20-minute recommendation?
Sure.
I think possibly the best urban legend on film is the first 20 minutes of When a Stranger Calls.
Yeah, totally.
Oh my God. The call is coming from within the house. Like that, used to freak the hell out of me when I'd be babysitting or just home alone, like when you were, getting that bit more responsibility and your parents would leave you home with your younger siblings and whatever. And just start playing in your mind, like that phone ringing and oh my God. And yeah, the first 20 minutes of that film, the original.
Yep. I think that's
flawless.
The best incarnation of that
Yeah.
story. Like, it hasn't been done better than that.
No.
film.
I was going to say, what did you think of the remake, the Camilla Bell?
I think I didn't mind it.
It was
I think
alright.
I think, it was
The only
just...
thing I didn't like about it was the house. The house was too fancy.
Right.
Like, why does the house need to be so fancy? Like,
Just
be a fucking house.
I can't
that
really
actual
remember
people
it that
live in.
well, but I think it was just
Well,
like
I've got
a-
two things to
yeah.
say about the original. One is that yes, that is just
Oh.
remarkable. It's scary. I think
So
I think it's actually more
scary.
effective than when Scream do it. 'Cause,
Yes, yeah. But I also think that's very good too.
It is very good.
Yeah,
but what I liked about the original was, unlike Scream, it's not a menacing voice on the phone at first. Like it's just
yes.
the voice.
Yeah.
And it could be just the next door neighbor. Like and that makes it scarier to me.
Yeah, yes.
But then I like that the film flips on itself and becomes an entirely different genre.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
odd. Like
yeah.
most people
but
don't
the
like
problem
it.
is, I mean, the guy was dying. Like he was on his deathbed, and
Yeah.
he doesn't look that menacing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he was pretty frail
Yes.
by that. So that's probably my biggest problem with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting though.
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
need to revisit
And
it.
Carol
but yeah,
Kane, gotta love her.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
incredible. But
Did
yeah,
you ever watch
I just
part
had
two?
to. No, I haven't seen part 2.
There is a part 2.
Yes.
When a stranger calls
back.
back.
Yeah. But yeah, that first 20 minutes, my God.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's
Yeah.
a great movie. All right, so we are in the final stretch now. So I want to quickly mention a couple of things. Do you guys remember when, this is sort of before the internet and before fact-checking, movies spawned their own urban legends? So I'm wondering if you remember these. I'm sure Ben definitely remembers the first one when...
I remember nothing.
Everybody, particularly in the school playgrounds, was convinced that hoverboards were real.
Oh.
And that turned out to be a deliberate strategic marketing ploy directly by Robert Zemeckis to pitch it as if you could buy them. Like we invented them for this movie and you can buy one. So that became an urban legend. I love that.
Yeah.
Then there was the classic one is the Munchkin suicide in the Wizard of Oz.
Yes, yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, yeah.
And the interesting thing about that is when you look at original versions of the film, what you see swinging in the woods, which is supposed to be a munchkin that hung itself, is different to the home video releases.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so they've changed it somewhere along the line.
Conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yes. What else we got here? There's the suicide in the Basketball Diaries. Have you heard about that one?
No.
There's a scene where they're at the riverside.
Yep.
Bridge way in the background, and you can see a jumper.
Someone jump.
But like the rumor was, there's no record of a body fished out of the water.
Yeah.
Some would say it was a bag of rubbish thrown over, but you can definitely see it in the background. So I think that's a cool one. And this is the one before the internet came along, and before high-res freeze frame came along, the ghost in the 3 Men and a Baby.
Yes, yeah.
That was the greatest folklore of all time.
Yeah.
And of
but
course,
it's just a
cut out.
Cut out.
Cut out of Ted Danson. But we didn't have the technology back then to check that.
Yeah.
So you were convinced. And if you found it, you could freeze frame it to the point that you could make it out but not see what it was.
Yes. Yeah.
That's great stuff.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. And
Yeah,
what
I
else have I
love
got here?
it.
The best one of all is the cock bombing in Teen Wolf. Have you seen that one?
No.
So you go to the game in Teen Wolf, right, where they win, and there's the moment where Michael J. Fox and his dad celebrate with a big hug. In the stands behind him, there's a guy with his dick hanging out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I remember this.
And
yeah.
he swings it around, and then as the camera pulls away, he tucks it back in and zips up. Yeah, and people are like, no, that's a woman. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's a guy.
Yeah.
And if you actually look at that video, if you got a Blu-ray, even better, it's a dick. Why else would you tuck it back in and zip it up? So that's good.
I love it.
And then maybe the ultimate is, have you heard about the butthole cut of Cats? The movie Cats.
Yeah.
So the movie
new
Cats that
one.
came out recently, apparently there's an entire cut of this film
Yeah.
where all of the cats actually have assholes.
They have butts.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's been confirmed by the editor, yes, it exists. And we realized in the cut that the way the fur on the costumes was designed, the seam joined at that point, so the fur made it look like an asshole.
Yeah.
So they had to digitally remove all the assholes.
Removed it all.
Cats have assholes.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he said this cut exists of the assholes. So I would love to see that.
Yeah. That's an imprint Blu-ray waiting to come out in
Damn
about
straight.
10
And
years'
it's
time.
that movie that always gets in your face. Alrighty, time to bring it to a close. It's a Melzy episode, and that means Melzy Trivia. Oh, I won't call it Melzy Trivia. It's not your
Melzy
idea.
Trivia.
It's me that inflicts it upon you two every month, I should say. I'll go first with an easy one just to kick it started.
Oh, see, I hate it when you say that.
No, it's an easy one. So
No, that's more pressure and
how many
worse if I don't know it.
How many installments are in the I Know What You Did Last Summer series?
3 or 4.
3.
And then a TV series.
3.
3 and then a TV series.
Yes. And the third one was actually directed by the guy that made Losers, Stomp the Yard, and Slender Man. So
not a good film there.
no. I mean, Stomp the Yard's pretty fun.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a movie I would think. That
Okay.
I just wouldn't have thought that the guy that made I Know It Did Last Summer 3 would have a career like that. That's what surprises me.
I'm just surprised he's not directing TV.
Yeah, he probably is.
Yeah.
We're all about the movies here. Melzy, what's yours?
Okay, so doing my classic me, but as you've now named it Melzy Trivia, I can pretty much do whatever I want. So this isn't actually a horror, but it is urban legend related. So there is an urban legend that Disney animators were secretly slipping hidden sexual messages into their films. Which film was accused to have sex written out in the sky, leading to Christian groups calling for the video to be pulled from shelves?
That was Aladdin.
No.
Wasn't it? I swear they have. Oh, no. Aladdin's the one where he says, I can see your tits. I think that's on the balcony. If you volume up on the VHS, you can hear like,
yeah.
I can see your tits. Yeah. But I know the image and I know the movie now.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I don't know. Is it Little Mermaid?
No.
Lion King.
Lion King, yeah.
King.
So
And-
written in the sky above Simba when he slumps down on the edge of the cliff before Mufasa comes to him.
Mufasa.
It says, it definitely looks like it says sex in the stars, but apparently it's SFX.
FX, yeah.
And it was a shout out to the special effects team. But have you guys seen also the Little Mermaid
Yeah, the
cover?
cock.
That is definitely a dick.
And
That's
doesn't
definitely a dick.
And I would know.
Isn't the
Oh,
joke
look,
about
yeah.
Baby Herman putting the finger up Jessica Rabbit in
Oh,
Who
yeah.
Framed Roger Rabbit? Yeah, that's totally.
That's
Well,
a
you've
dick.
also got the N bomb being thrown out in, or was it the F bomb in Roger Rabbit as well? Daffy Duck.
Oh, really?
I think it's the N bomb. Yeah,
right.
it's nasty scene.
It's okay. He's black though. He's allowed to say.
Yeah, that's right. And it was an A, not an ER.
Yeah.
So it works. Ben,
Yeah,
what's your
that's
next one?
All right. In typical Ben fashion,
Ooh.
this question has no.
Oh yeah, 6 parts.
It's only 1 part, but it does have 3.
Oh.
Name the 3 highest grossing John Carpenter films.
Wow.
Jeez.
Highest grossing. You instinctively want to say
Halloween.
Halloween, but I don't reckon it is.
Well, it possibly isn't, but
Yeah,
it would have the highest like. Like it's made the most from like having a small because it's one of the.
I want to
Well,
go.
this is grossing. Look, I can't speak to where the figures I got from this, whether they are just initial box office,
just to,
or like
just to play against the
Yeah.
grain.
Yeah.
Would it be ridiculous to say like Village of the Children, Village of
Village of the Damned?
That would be incredibly ridiculous.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Like I've got the top 14
Yeah.
here, and that is not on that
Oh,
list.
yeah.
I was trying to like buck the trend,
But look, I was going to say. In any order, like you do not have to get them in the correct order.
All right.
So
Escape from LA.
Oh.
All right. No, what's your 3?
Okay. Well, mine would be The
Thing.
Thing. Escape from LA for me.
Oh wow.
Just because it's a sequel and everyone was anticipating it.
Oh gee.
And that's
Escape from New York. I'll go then. And
I want to say.
Oh, I'm just gonna say Halloween.
And I want to say vampires.
Jeez. Well, I mean, I'm shocked. You did like Escape from LA was the 3rd highest grossing film.
Yeah.
I didn't think either of you were going to get that one.
Yeah.
Number 1 was Halloween.
Yep.
Yeah.
And number 2, I'm shocked that you forgot this one. Starman. Starman was huge.
Yeah.
Like mega huge.
It was, yeah. See, I was trying to think of his non-horror ones as well. That's not where I went.
So I'll give you the
I went Memoirs of Invisible Man. No way.
I'll give you the top. So the top 14 according to this list. So 1 is Halloween, 2
Yep.
Starman, Escape from LA, Escape from New York,
Yep.
The Fog, Christine,
yeah.
John Carpenter's Vampires,
Yeah.
The Thing, in Memoirs of an Invisible Man, Prince of Darkness, Ghosts of Mars, They Live, The Ward, which I didn't even know got the theatrical.
Yeah.
And then Big Trouble in Little China, bringing in number
14.
Wow.
That's a
he's,
shock.
He's done about 20, I think. 20.
Yeah.
But that's a shock that came like in the worst of that list.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Who would have thought that Big Trouble in Little
Hey,
China did
it just
worse
taught
than-
me that when all else fails, use logic. Because that's where I
Yeah.
went with Escape from LA. Everyone wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
A long way to follow up. All right, my turn.
Still, God.
Horror
yeah.
director Darren Lynn Bousman. His 2012 movie The Baron, starring Stephen Moyer and Mia Kirshner, is based on what American urban legend / folklore?
The Baron.
Barons.
The Barons.
Oh, the Barons.
Yep. Stephen Moyer. Darren Lynn Bousman, the guy that made a couple of Saw movies. Repo, the Genetic Opera.
I know that Thingo is the True Blood guy, right? Stephen Moyer.
Yes, he is. That's right.
Oh yeah.
He's having his way with. He was having his way with
this urban legend.
Anna Paquin.
Yes,
Ozzy
this
Osbourne.
urban legend
they
has
were good times.
been a focal point of the X Files.
Is it the
what?
Emil Toombs?
Oh, is that the episode? I don't think that's the episode.
That's the one where he crawls under the doors. And he's got the
Yeah, it's the same era. Same era. It's the Jersey Devil. There you go. All right.
Okay.
So, don't sound too excited, but anyway.
It's just on the tip of my tongue.
All right, Mousy.
Okay. This is going to be a bit random now. What is the song that appears throughout Final Destination? The first one.
I know this because I talked about it on my interview with Jeffrey Reddick.
Is it Time Is On Your Side? No, that's Fallen.
I wish I could remember what the fuck it was. No. It's not Don't Fear the Reaper, is it?
No, but I think that's in it, but it's not it's not the song.
Yeah. What are you talking about? It is of the song.
Every band has a. I can't quote that line. That great line from the Stoned Age where they talk about. They talk about it again. They're like, every band has a pussy song, so they can tell who the fags in their audience are. And that's Don't Fear the Reaper.
Anyway, keep going.
It is Rocky Mountain High, John Denver.
Of course it is.
Fuck
Yes.
So good. I love that
because it
motif.
preempts every death, doesn't it? Far out.
It's like it's a busker. It's on the bloody airport.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so good.
And quite often very subtle.
Yeah, oh, so subtle. Yeah, so good.
All right, Ben, what's your last one?
My second one. Are we doing? Only doing two?
Yeah, two.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Name the two actresses that appear in both the first two Urban Legends films.
Rebecca Gayheart.
Yep.
And
whoever
Reese. Yeah.
I was hoping you'd forgot about Rebecca Gayheart because she only turns up right at the
Yeah.
end.
It's at the end.
credits.
It's at the end. Yeah. Okay, so it does get better.
Spoiler alert.
That scene is awesome. Oh
turns up
yeah.
at the end.
Yeah. Whoops. Whoops.
It don't matter none. And with that, the show's over. Thanks, Melzy. Hey, thanks for being here again. It's awesome. We love having you here. The next time you're on, it's another long month, I think.
Oh, is
7th of November.
Oh.
When we have you on
Wow.
next, it's like 5 weeks away.
That is ages.
Yes, Ben. You can go home to Boggy Creek now, mate.
I'm already there, John.
It's a great urban legend Boggy Creek. Thank you to everybody for listening. You can catch the three of us on social media this week, YouTube and Facebook. We're going to try the pop rock trick. And next week, Ben, we're going to be talking about controversial movies that are controversial. So might have to put a trigger warning on that for people.
Ooh.
It's going to be fuck that. It's going to be one of those. What's that meme that's going around? Like Caddyshack 2 is a good film. Convince me otherwise. That's as controversial as I may be getting.
Controversy.
That's as offensive as you'll let it get.
I chose that example specifically.
All right, so it's time to sign off. So we're going to leave you with a song from I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's Typo Negative in a cover of Summer Breeze. This is a banger. I fucking love it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Some